Okay, move number 2 has been made. Yes, just 2. But Deandre Ayton is officially, well, not press release, official pen to paper Laker, but he's going to be a Laker. Apparently, he just agreed to a 2-year deal with the Lakers for, I think it was $16.6 million, with I think the second year is a player option as well. Reported by damn near everybody: Shams, Chris Haynes, Mark Stein, Jake Fisher. You know the works. So it's legit. Um, the Lakers finally get that center that they want, and we'll see where this goes. Welcome to the Jello Jiggling podcast. I'm your host Ryan Ward, and Luca finally has that lob threat. He has that big man in the paint that's a bit more formidable than Jackson Hayes or anybody else that they were throwing at people in the front court last season. Uh, I can't imagine they are done after this. I think this is just kind of that box they really needed to check, because that Jake LaRavia signing basically did nothing. I mean, it's essentially, if you sign him and then you lose DFS, it's a pretty big downgrade, especially defensively. They're not the same guy, not the same skill set, but it's that's how it's seen, right? You sign this guy and then DFS walks and goes to a much better situation in Houston and fits perfectly over there. It's a shame because he fit pretty damn well in LA, I thought. I thought you got a guy who's got proven chemistry with Luka Doncic, which is awesome. And even though Doncic can kind of get chemistry going with damn near anybody, uh, that was already established. You had a 3-and-D guy. The guy wants to win. He wants to win now. He's got a little bit of an attitude to him, a little swag that I liked. I thought it was cool. The best quote last year was that Luka Doncic gets guys butt naked, wide open, or like that's what he was saying he was, and that's why he was knocking down shots consistently. And I mean, he was a great shooter. It's a shame. It's a shame they lost him, but this is the reality of it now. It's Laravia, it's Aiden, and I think my guess is there's a trade coming. I think there's another trade coming. I think, well, not another. It'd be the first after since Luca, but well, actually, no, the draft. Yeah, when they traded up for Adu Thero, I believe his name is, which is a bummer. That's another thing that happened today. He's apparently dealing with an injury that's going to keep him out of summer league, and that's the one guy I was looking forward to watching. Um, you're going to get the kind of the people that you thought. Bronny James, Connect is playing. They literally just released the summer league roster about 20 minutes ago. That's when I decided to jump on because I was going to talk about Aiden, and then the fact that I think another trade is coming. But yeah, Aiden's not going to be enough. You got those guys lingering like Koloko and Jemison, who's on the summer league roster. Jemison, not Koloko, but he's the biggest guy on the summer league roster. Like literally, there's no other center on the roster. It's a little strange. You'd figure if that's a position of need, you bring in some guys that can compete in that position. But then again, that might lean more toward them actually making a trade for another big. Maybe Aiden is going to be the backup. Maybe he's not the starter. And then they're going for a big swing here. Walker Kessler, unfortunately, I think it was Jovan Buha that reported it, that said that they're just asking for too much. And I kind of figured that's where that was, because Ainge was asking for, 2 first-round picks and a player um, leading up to the trade deadline last season. And why would you change that unless you were just getting no interest whatsoever? But apparently that's what they're asking for still. And the Lakers can't afford that. So it kind of, crosses them off there. And maybe they were hoping that price would come down somehow, but Danny Ainge doesn't really tend to mix things up here. So yeah, as much as that hurts, because I'm a Kessler guy, I wanted Kessler so bad, and I thought Kessler would be the perfect guy to bring in next to Luca, or for in the paint, and then have that lob threat. You get better defensively, you get better offensively, and he's 23. You're set up for a decade, just like Luca, right? If he stays healthy and everything goes well, whatever. So where do they go now? And my guess would be they're going to look at the Phoenix Suns, who made some odd moves to say it nicely. They already had Nick Richards, and they go and they draft Malawach. I hope I'm not butchering his name. I'm always terrified to say that guy's name. Um, and they traded for Mark Williams. So, I mean, the Hornets seem determined to do that regardless, even though they had that nice welcome back letter and how they're going to build around him, or like, he's part of the process here. BS, absolute PR BS. But so that means they're committing with those two guys. Mark Williams is going to be their starter probably, and then Malawach would be the guy behind him to develop the next few years. I don't think Phoenix knows what the hell they're doing, to be honest. I think they've made too many swings that just didn't work. KD ultimately didn't work. Bradley Beal definitely didn't work. They're going to try and trade him, but he's got a no trade clause. He's one of two guys in the league that have a no trade clause, which you can guess who the other guy is. It's LeBron James. Since he opted into the last year of his deal, that trade clause carries over, and it's what could really screw this whole thing up. Because, in all honesty, I think the best move for this team is to trade LeBron and get assets for him before he just walks and retires or walks and goes somewhere else. It's all indications seem to point to him not being too happy with the situation. Either that it's the lack of moves or the fact that the Lakers didn't really offer another deal, like a 1-for-1, like which is LeBron has lived off of for a while, or 2-and-1, or it's there's no security beyond that. So, and he wants to contend supposedly. So Rich Paul's comments were just created havoc, and they act like, oh, that wasn't the intention, yada yada yada. But dude, it's a long couple of paragraphs, and it's all signs lead to this thing's going to break up, whether it's now, trade deadline, or after the season, after next season. It's over, right? Ship has sailed. We know you're building around Luka, and that's your number one goal, and it should be. It should be. I don't know why you would want to, continue getting the thumbs up from a 41-year-old guy who's just going to do a farewell tour most likely. So I mean, the talk has been Cleveland and New York, but it's not. It's all speculative. There's no there's no smoke there. I think even somebody came out and said that Cleveland's not interested. And if you do think about it from their perspective, why the hell would they be? Why would they give up young, talented players for a 41-year-old that's gonna more than likely just walk away after one season? It doesn't make much practical sense. I honestly think the only way that works out is if you got a sucker. You got a sucker down the line who's just like, you know what? Yeah, sure, why not? Let's make a ton of money off of LeBron's last season. Build him up. We'll we'll get all the attention, all the headlines, yada yada yada, and potentially contend. I only think that. Well, I think the three options are the three most, maybe, well, four technically. If he wants an easy path to the finals, go to the East. Go to New York. Go to Cleveland. One of those two teams are going to go to the finals, in my opinion. New York just hired their new head coach, or at least they've agreed to hire Mike Brown, former Lakers coach, former Kings coach, former Cavs coach, former coach of LeBron James. So there's a link there, right? I mean, I don't know how strong that is, but and then LeBron caused quite a stir because he was. I mean, I don't. I kind of feel like everything LeBron does is calculated these days, right? It's something he intends to do. So he was wearing a hat, I think at a golf course or something, and it said "Welcome home," right? And so everybody's flipping out and trying to figure out what that means. Like he's that tactical, but um, people could say, he's Cleveland. That's the most obvious one, coming home or welcome home or whatever. Miami, but then again, he was there for 4 years, and I'm sure him and Pat Riley still aren't doing too good over the whole cookies thing, which I thought was so ridiculous. And then somebody even threw out New York. Like, Like that's home. But how is that home? Mecca, maybe the Mecca of basketball makes sense, but you didn't leave it, And I know he loves playing there. I mean, every great player loves playing at MSG. Um, so I don't know. I still think there is something lingering. I think Windhorse even said something today where he's just like, when I first heard the trade speculation or like this was something potentially brewing, I shut it down right away. And then he said 3 days later, I've changed my mind. I think that door is open, and I'm like, damn, like I said, I hope it happens. I think it is time to kind of cut it off. So like cut your losses. Hey, look, LeBron, thank you for the one chip, and putting the butts in the seats the last 7 years or 8 years or how long it's been. Good luck. Try and get that fifth ring and better solidify your GOAT case, at least in your mind. I still think MJ's the GOAT. I'll never waver from that. And even Kobe, I'd put him ahead of him. But that's my opinion. I don't really care if I get torched. But who knows, man? The way things are going for the Lakers, I think OKC is so damn good. And Houston got so much better on top of already being good. And then even Denver made some moves, like fringe moves, that made them better. That made them better and more dangerous in the West. I honestly think it probably goes OKC. Oh, OKC, Houston, Denver, and then it's kind of like you could go. I don't know, Clippers. No, probably Minnesota. Probably Minnesota, right? Minnesota, Clippers, and then maybe Lakers, maybe Dallas. I mean, it's a toss up. I mean, even Dallas got better. So maybe Dallas is there. I don't know. It's just, but with the Lakers fit, it's just they don't fit in there. Like they're not in that title contending conversation. None of these moves. I mean, Aiden makes them better. They're a better team with Deandre Ayton. They just are. I mean, yeah, the guy averaged I think a double last season or close to it in a crappy situation in Portland. And what could he do with Luca? What could he do with LeBron and both of them at the same time? I mean, it's an interesting addition, but then again, I've heard he's a pain in the ass too. Like he's got an attitude. He's a problem in the locker room. Like, you don't want that on a team full of with two veteran leaders and with title aspirations. It's just, but then again, I don't think beggars can't be choosers, right? I mean, it got to a point where they were begging for him to come in a sense. I mean, not publicly, but uh, all indications showed that because they couldn't get anybody else. Brooke Lopez goes and signs next door with the Clippers. Miles Turner was never an option because they couldn't afford the guy, and he landed in Milwaukee, which I thought was weird. Um, Giannis is that's I don't think that's happening, even though he's pissed about the whole Dame Lillard thing. And actually, that's another thing to bring up. Apparently, the Lakers are one of several teams that have interest in Dame Lillard. And I love Dame Lillard. He's one of my favorite players in the league. But it is a guy who's coming off of an Achilles injury, and I think he's 35. And he probably won't be. He'll probably be 36, 37 when he comes back. And you don't know what you're going to get from that guy, and you don't know how much he's going to want to sign for. Because from what I've seen, he's deciding on whether or not he wants to sign with a team right now, or just rehab and get back to get his body back to normal and then make a decision, which is probably the smarter move. I don't think it's a good move to sign right now with a team and then it's just that lingering question. And it kind of reminds me of DeMarcus Cousins a little bit. I mean, a little different because even though Cousins was, I guess, a superstar in Sacramento, he didn't sustain it for very long, did he? Before his injuries started to pile up. Whereas Dame, he's been a superstar his entire career up to this point. So I would, hey, look, yeah, awesome, get Dame Lillard, but right now, no. Unless you think you're not going to be able to get him in a year, right? Like, but that's a whole other discussion. I don't even think that's worth it really entertaining at this point. I did think it was interesting that they are interested because Jesus, the defense already is atrocious. And you're going to bring another guy in the backcourt who can't guard, right? Like You got Luca already, who's defensive liability. You got Reeves. Even LeBron's kind of getting to that point at this point if he's still on the team. Um, there's no real defensive. I mean, that rookie might be in contention for the best defender on the team. And I don't even know because I haven't really watched him play. All the highlights are of him. Excuse me. Highlight dunks. Sorry about that. A little hiatus to cough up a lung. But anyway, where was I at? Yeah, just the defense would be super suspect. And like that was one of the biggest goal was upgrade the center position and the defense. And they have not addressed that at all. So I mean, and then there's the talk of them targeting 2027 when, they can sign another max player. Like I think Giannis's contract is up then, and then there's Jokic too. I think those two are the biggest names. Everybody else is ancient, like Steph. And so, but the thing is, you're really gonna sacrifice 2 years of Luca's prime to maybe get a guy in 2027. I mean, how many guys walk these days without signing an extension? Right? It just doesn't happen. Teams make sure they get their guys locked up and then trade them if they have to. It's just that's the new NBA. That's just what happens. So I don't think that's a smart move. But all in all, oh, I'm glad I'm breathing amazing right now. Oh, as a kid, I had the worst chest possible, and the older I've gotten, it's gotten better and better and better. But every once in a while, dude, every once in a while. Um, Another interesting wrinkle. I'm going to pivot a little bit because 2027 is just it's not really worth talking about. Luca is apparently involved in the roster building here, the construction of the team. So it's like the torch has been passed from LeBron to Luca, and so this is Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. My sense with Luca is he's involved in everything that they're doing. She's pretty wired in. If he had a big problem, I don't know, he would make his feelings known the way LeBron does, but I think he would make his feelings known. So he is a different. That's a totally different personality. Plus, he doesn't have an entire agency behind him with a excuse me, one of the most powerful agents in the game with Rich Paul. So my sense is they're proceeding along this route. They're confident in their plan. Yeah, I don't believe that part. I have a level of trust that they have a plan that he's on board with. I mean, yeah, you got to go through your superstar, right, to see if everything's kosher, like everything's cool, like he's not pissed off, like what the Bucks should have done before they made that crazy move for Miles Turner, thinking that's going to um, cure all the problems, uh, and then go and waive Dame the way they did and stretch him or whatever. It just that's another team that's probably just desperate and just like trying to do whatever they possibly can to stay relevant and keep Giannis loyal, which is harder and harder these days. Yeah, but it makes perfect sense though. I mean, he's probably seen he's only got a certain window left. I mean, players play later and later in their careers now. 40 is not crazy anymore. LeBron has kind of broken that barrier, and Kareem did it, years and years ago. But I think this is a good development here. Luca being involved. Hopefully, I don't know. The real question here is though, what the hell do they do now? I would assume. I thought the holdup with all the centers coming off the market and moves be made like Larry Nance going to Cleveland and yada yada yada. Even though that's a backup, Brook Lopez is a backup. Al Horford's still out there, and I think there's a rumor linking him to LA, but I don't see why he would come here at 40. Two 40-year-olds on the court at the same time. It's just wait, is that smart? I like Horford. I like his game, but at the same time, is that what they need, right? And it probably come at a cost. I think Golden State's the favorite, been the favorite ever since this whole thing started. And Boston's been like, yeah, we're basically punting on next season because of Tatum, the Drew Holiday trade, and Porzingis trade, yada yada yada, and all the kind of small moves that they've made to you kind of fill the gaps there. It's kind of clear that they don't really care how next season pans out. I know no team is ever going to admit that, but they show you, right? They show you by the moves that they make, or the lack of moves that they make. Kind of with like the Lakers right now, with the lack of moves, substantial moves. Like Laravia didn't do anything, didn't move the needle at all. In fact, it probably took him backwards. I think he's a good player and all, but like not. DFS just does more, right? But the money situations, it's tough. Palenka's addressed that a ton of times, so I think he went into the offseason thinking, and he's actually said this repeatedly um, about a trade. Like the most recent was when uh, they got Thero right with that pick in the draft, the second round pick, number 45, I think. Um, Saying they're going to be super active on the trade market. So I'd say the only problem here, well, there's a few problems, but maybe it's just showing their cards a little too early. And everybody's like, we know you guys are desperate as hell to put talent around Luca. We don't want to deal with a team that's got talent around Luca for the foreseeable future. We're not going to help you after the Dallas Mavericks gifted you this generational superstar. Um, but it's teams are desperate too around the league, right? Like they want to move off guys. Maybe it's not Kessler, but maybe it's John Collins they end up landing. The thing is, who are they going to give up? Who are they giving up? I would assume it's Connect. It's Rui and a pick, right? Or if they find somebody that they really like, who's a tick up, right? Like it's a potential game changer. Austin Reeves goes on the table. As much as I don't want to see that happen, you got to do what you got to do to be good right now. And if LeBron is bitching and moaning, and I kind of feel like they've tuned him out. Like they're kind of just like, this is the way it is. I think was it when Windhorst said today, it was either today or yesterday, they're viewing LeBron as an expiring contract, and that was a big like hint, hint. If we can trade him, we're going to do it. Because whenever you hear that term expiring contract, it means we want to move off you in the summer or ahead of the trade deadline, because teams love those deals, because then they don't have to deal with that asset after that year, right? They can, if they like the situation, they can re-sign them. If they don't, they can just let them walk in free agency. Hey, look, thank you for your half season, your full season, or whatever. So maybe that's pretty telling. Then it is. I mean, you look at it already. It's an expiring contract. It's a 1-year deal. Every 1-year deal is an expiring contract without an option behind it. So, of course, you're going to view it that way. It's just the phrasing, right? Like it's like you forced it in there. But I mean, he's a smart guy. ESPN does this kind of stuff. They're going to throw stuff out there, knowing people are going to change it into a trade narrative, right? Like even if he doesn't totally say that, it's like circling around the subject. And Windhorst has always been kind of a LeBron defender. I think he's kind of turned on that with LeBron making those comments on the Pat McAfee show about him, which I thought was pretty crappy of him to do. But anyway, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a LeBron trade, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's another big swing that the Lakers are going to make here. Whether it's going to be a game changer and be exactly what they need for the Luka, era moving forward, who knows? Who knows? Because they did. I mean, think about it. Did they know Ayton was going to get bought out? Probably not. Did anybody? Probably not. So things change. The ebbs and flows. Things happen, frequently in this league, to where the GMs have to adjust on the fly. So having these elaborate plans or whatever, you always have to be willing to be flexible and realize that, hey, look, things can shift pretty quickly and easily. So it's going to get interesting from here on out. Like there's the whole LeBron aspect of this thing, and then what's the move they're trying to make? I mean, is LeBron waiting for them to make this move and then he makes his decision? Like, yeah, trade me, guys, trade me. Is Palenka already looking around the league? Maybe LeBron's giving him a list of teams. Hey, look, I'll go here if you find a trade for me. I'll go here as long as I'm not gutting this team, entirely. But the thing is, it's $52 million. That's kind of a hard salary to give up. Like I think if you go to New York, it's that's like OG and like Bridges or something. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but you're going to give up some pretty, substantial talent in return for an aging superstar who's on his more than likely his last year. So I don't know. It's good. It's every day is going to be kind of like this. I think kind of like, oh yeah, we got this guy, but what the hell's happening next? It's always next until you feel like, okay, I like where this is headed. And I think that they got better today, but not good enough. That's that's where it's at. They've got better, but they're just not good enough yet. And I don't know if that move is there to be good enough, but we'll see. We'll see. And sorry for all the coughing and stuff, guys. But until next time, see you later.